Thanks for joining us. I'm Paula Ebben with a WBZ News Update. Our top stories: the Healy administration announced today a major step in expanding access to higher education for undocumented college students. The state's new application for financial aid will allow currently enrolled undocumented college students to apply for state need-based financial aid for the first time. Well, tonight, Boston Mayor Mikell will lay out her vision for the city's future. She'll deliver her second State of the City address at the MGM Music Hall in Fenway. During last year's speech, the mayor announced a new plan to create more affordable housing, and she talked about how she had hoped to address the crisis at Mass and Cass. Some wild video in Lynn earlier today. A water main break sent water shooting up 50 feet into the sky, causing a lot of issues for residents there. This was in the area of Ocean Street and Route 1A. Frigid morning temperatures froze the water onto street lights and a nearby cafe. We're under a next weather alert as we track yet another storm heading our way. This one is expected to cause significant flooding and power outages in some areas. It all gets going late this afternoon. Let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Mikell.
Well, we're back with the rainfall intensity because this is going to be very, very key. A lot of things are going to be happening as we've been talking about all morning long. The hours are ticking by. The final prep work needs to go into place before the rain moves in later this afternoon. The timeline of it really starts to increase past the drive at 5 as far as Boston is concerned. Worcester Hills into the lower Merrimack Valley, you can certainly expect some of the changeover between rain and snow. Eventually still remaining in that cold sector through about 8 p.m. this evening. But again, all rain as far as Boston is concerned. The highest intensity roughly around midnight to about 3 a.m. and still remaining elevated through at least 5. The number one concern that we're going to have is heavy rain leading towards some flooding issues, primary, secondary roadways. Think some of the valleys, think the coastline areas, maybe even some coastal erosion down there. Damaging wind gusts will do nothing to all but speed a lot of this activity up, leading towards the warmer conditions moving back in and melting the snow. Believe it or not, look at this. We are still expecting 1 to 3 inches far west in the Worcester Hills, getting into the southern New Hampshire, even some higher amounts getting to nearly half a foot of snow before being overtaken by a lot of the rain. Our next tier, though, is some of the wind gusts. Again, Tuesday evening, gusts approaching 50 to 60, perhaps even 70 miles per hour. Tree line damage. Power lines could be coming down, leading towards some scatter outages. That is likely to be mainly along the eastern shore, the south shore, the Cape, as well as the islands. Even the south coast could likely be dealing with some scatter outages. River streams, even basement, poor drainage. This is going to be a major concern, which is why National Weather Service is starting this flood watch at 7 p.m. this evening. And we could likely be waking up tomorrow morning with more flood warnings across the area, as well as river flood warnings by the time we close out Wednesday evening. Here's the latest rainfall forecast: 1 to 2 inches, some isolated amounts likely getting up to near 3 south and west of the area. I think this is still likely to be the bullseye of the storm in terms of the intensity and the long duration event, but we're still expecting a lot of rain here in Boston nonetheless. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast. Notice that wave of energy arriving in here by 8 p.m. A swath of rain moving back in, and notice a heavier rain arriving shortly after 9 p.m. 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Still periods of very heavy rain, friends. A lot of the snow melt is already ongoing at this point, hours on end, and the poor drainage areas will not be able to kind of recept the water that is really melting across the area. So again, make sure the drainages are clear and the water has somewhere to go, at least to help it get on out of here. Past the energy moving out tomorrow morning, we're going to be left with still a southerly wind, which is a warming wind for us. A few kind of stray showers kind of possibly popping up across the area. But again, windy conditions tomorrow, cloudy conditions come tomorrow, but also drier conditions by Thursday and Friday of this week. Then we collect ourselves and prepare for another event arriving on Saturday. That one is now moving on the Pacific Northwest coast. 50s expected on Saturday. Cold front moves on in. Windy conditions by Sunday. And look at that. Back into the 30s we go by Monday of next week. Much colder weather coming in the days ahead. Paula?
Thanks, Jason. I'm Paula Ebben. This has been a WBZ News Update.